Chairman Craven, excuse me, and Chairwoman McEntee, and all the members here, an enormous gratitude for taking this bill up. My name is Katherine Robb. I am a board member of Child USA Advocacy. I am also a board member of Massachusetts Citizens for Children, and I advocate for these bills in any state I can physically pull myself away from my 5 children and get to. And I will continue to do that, so thank you for the opportunity here today. I worked very closely with Senator William Brownsberger and Representative John Lawn in Massachusetts to change their statute of limitations, and that bill was signed into law in June of 2014. And most recently, I worked very closely with Professor Marcy Hamilton of Child USA, and I worked with Governor Andrew Cuomo in New York and his legal staff. And that was a 12-year long-fought battle, primarily against the Catholic Church in New York, the Boy Scouts of America, and some insurance lobbies as well. That bill was signed into law less than 2 weeks ago on February 14th. It was a good Valentine's Day for many to finally have some justice. What brings me here is the once trapped voice of a 9-year-old girl. And this is me at age 10. My abuser was a family member. And I know that you hear today from many members who were abused by the Catholic clergy. But I can tell you that abusers show up in all shapes and sizes. They come from many different places. This bill, like many other bills, is not anti-Catholic. I was raised in a Catholic family in New York. I spent 12 years in a Catholic school. I had a wonderful experience at St. Mary's Catholic School. Again, my abuser was a family member. Coincidentally, my abuser attended school here in the state of Rhode Island. Statistics from the Crimes Against Children Research Center at the University of New Hampshire showed that the vast majority of sexual crimes committed against children are committed by people that the child knows and committed by people that the child trusts. That would include family, acquaintances, coaches, teachers, religious leaders. 33% of all sexual predators are family members. For me, it was 5 years of pain, shame, and fear. And that pain and shame and fear twisted into a tight ball and lodged itself in my throat and silenced me until I was well into my mid-40s. As a young child, I had panic attacks, I had sleep issues. I basically couldn't sleep at all. I had stomach issues. I dressed like a boy so I wouldn't look attractive. I had many thoughts of suicide into my early adulthood. It took decades to finally speak and slowly shake off the tag of damaged goods. Statistics reveal that the average survivor comes forward at age 52. I believe Ann spoke to this as well. For you legislative leaders in the state of Rhode Island, real justice means justice for all. For present victims, for future victims, and for past victims. who had their voices silenced by shame and fear and pain. Extending the statute of limitations gives victims time and courage to find their courage and time to speak. It gives them the time back that the predators stole from them. And window legislation allows victims who have been silenced by their predators and silenced yet again by arbitrary statutes of limitations, a path to justice, an opportunity to fully heal. Revival legislation, window legislation, as this bill has a 3-year window, serves 3 important goals. First, and most importantly in my eyes, is it identifies hidden predators. When victims speak, when victims can come forward, they can identify the sexual predators in our communities. It also shifts the cost of abuse from the victims to the predators and the institutions that hide them. And it also educates the public. Rhode Island has an opportunity to join other states in saying enough. Enough to the insanity of child rape and abuse, and enough to the insanity of the institutions that cover up this crime. The following states have enacted statute of limitation reform or window legislation. California, in 2003, instituted a 1-year window. Delaware instituted a 2-year revival window, followed by an additional window in 2007-2009. Georgia instituted a 2-year window against predators only. Hawaii introduced a 2-year window, in 2018. Massachusetts had a revival to age 53 against predators and civil statute of limitations against institutions, plus a 7-year recovery law. That was in 2014. Michigan had a 90-day window. Utah, a retroactive revival to age 50 and a 2-year window against a perpetrator only. New York, as I just said, passed a revival window against predators and responsible institutions beginning 6 months after enactment. That is a 1-year window, and it extended the statute of limitations to the age of 55. In none of these states has there been a flood of cases that collapsed the justice system. In all of these jurisdictions, there have been few, if any, false claims brought. House Bill 5171 would extend the statute of limitations period to 35 years. With this legislation, Rhode Island has the opportunity to be a true leader in protecting children and a true leader for standing up for justice. Laws are based on the premise of justice, reason, and common sense. This body creates those laws. I commend you all for hearing the testimony today of so many brave survivors. I commend you all for taking up this bill. I close with 2 questions. And I ask you to consider these questions. Why do we have laws that reward sexual predators for the very silence they cause in their victims? Why do we have laws that protect them for the silence they cause? And I ask you a final question. Will Rhode Island finally be a leader for the protection of children, and will Rhode Island stand up for justice? I certainly hope so. Thank you.